Monday, YouTube. It's Philip Wilkerson back with another rambling of Philip Wilkerson on this beautiful May morning. I know all those memes of Justin Timberlake, it's going to be May, are flooding the internet. And so I just wanted to do this random rambling on something that came up last week. So last week I had the opportunity to have dinner with Coach Holbrook. Now, if you listen to my podcast, you will know that Holbrook was the teacher that I had in 10th grade that was responsible for getting a group of young black males together. And it was the class where I got to know Hillard and Justin, Charles, a bunch of my friends. And it was a really impactful class on me, and it left a lasting impression. I think it was probably one of the most powerful classes I've ever had in my entire life. And in that class, it was just a 7-period class at Mount Vernon. We just did our homework. We learned about African history. It was a leadership class, but in general, it was just a class to support young black students. And that meeting with Holbrook, I got to pick his brain and get the behind the scenes of how he came about developing that class and how important it was to him and how it inspired him to see where we are all in life. And he's really appreciative that we kept in touch, and seeing how Hillard and Justin and Charles have developed into men of character that made him very, very proud. So it kind of, the last thing he said to me, which left a lasting impression that kind of stuck with me for the whole weekend, was, what was one of the unexpected things that came out of that class, or something that you were proud of? And what he said to me was, I really am proud that out of that class, all of you guys became fathers to your community. And I think he meant that two ways. Most of us now, the guys that I mentioned, are fathers, involved, active fathers, which is something to be proud of. But he also said that we are also people that are positive influences on the community. Ironically, me, Justin, and Hillard ended up in education, teaching, giving back to kids. I'm in higher ed. Hillard's in school counseling. Justin is working with kids with special needs in the school systems as well. And that's kind of just a ironic thing that's what we all became. And being a father to the community is very important to me. I would say, in general, I have a lot of young kids, my neighbors, Kayla and Josh, and their kids call me Uncle Phil. The Hardmans, their kids call me Uncle Phil. And I take that role very seriously, I'm a positive influence on other people, not just my son, but other people. And I walk with that. I carry that title of being a father to my community. I carry that title of being a positive influence. Sometimes I didn't realize, but I really processed that with these young white males who are my neighbors, I'm probably their first and early exposure to a black male. And that's very significant to me, because I'm showing them that early on in their stages of development, that breaking stereotypes that black males are not, these negative stereotypes that they may encounter later in life. They're going to say, when I was growing up, we had this, there was a black guy that was really close to my parents and my friends. And, I called him Uncle Phil, and he was nice to me and things like that. You don't know the seeds that you planted in those young people's minds. And when I was processing that and thinking about that, that's something that I take very seriously. And that's something that I know that as life carries on, that's something of significance. It's going to be a positive male figure like Holbrook that shaped people in an unexpected way, that 30 years down the line, we, all us young men are where we are now. And it's because of positive influences, and not just our parents. Our parents are influences on us. My father's a great father, but there's also other males that I can think of that have helped me develop into a man of character. And I see other people doing it as well. I see, like I said, Justin and Hillard, they're doing it. I see there's one of my homeboys, his name is Chris Sharp. He's a big brother. He does the Big Brother program. He's doing something in the community. Just so many people around me. I see this. I see these images, these males that are doing things. They're truly being fathers to their community. They're truly giving back, not only to their children, but to other children, because what they see is that their influence goes beyond just one person. Their influence goes to, if I have a positive influence on 12 kids in this special leadership class that Holbrook had, those 12 people are going to have an influence on a 2 or 12 people, and it's just going to be a tree of influence. So I want to leave you with, if you have the opportunity, whether it's organized, like a Big Brother program, or some kind of service program, or just not as organized, just being yourself and being a good neighbor to others, take that as a serious role. Take that as a role, as when I interact with young children or younger or kids, that this is going to be a chance to influence them in ways that you did not expect, and take that very seriously. And I do. Now, if you enjoyed that episode, I'm going to do a little plug with Hillard. When we talked about Holbrook's class, I think that we're going to do a follow-up and talk about that influence of how that class had on me and Hillard, and hopefully bring in some other guys from that class. So if you want to see that, give me a comment, say it, give me some feedback if that's something that you want to hear about. And Attack Monday, be a positive influence on your community, do big things.